Ramanujam, and I'm the director and founder of the Kathalaya's International Academy of Storytelling, and trained a lot of people in the art of storytelling, and been there since 1996, to be precise, from 1998. So continuing the same job and trying to see if we can do more online sessions, do training online too, and also do a lot of short workshops. So I don't want to go on about me because I think you can find everything on the website www.kathalaya.org. You can also see a lot if you send us a mail to kathalaya@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Eric. It's been wonderful because both of us founded the Indian Storytelling Network. Yesterday I was on the panel discussion, thanks to Ennison. Thanks to all of you who have been listening to stories, attending workshops, and are here to welcome us with freshness again. And it's because of you, listeners, that we are there. So I will begin with a story. This story comes, I visit every year a place called Tripura, which is in the northeast of India. And in the northeast of India, they have more than 110 tribes. And this is a story that comes from what we call as the Garo Tribes. Tribal people, there are a lot of tribes, and they usually marry within each other. Some of them have still kept up the tradition and of storytelling, and you will find lots of acres and acres of untouched virgin forest still, and I hope it remains that way. So here is a story from them. Yes? All right, great. Gada 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 gan gana, gada 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 gan gana, good 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 good. The clouds just came, and there was a lot of sounds as the winds woo. And they gathered together, the clouds and the rain and the wind, they gathered together, and it poured and poured and poured and poured that day. And that was the day when a little baby girl called Coco was born. And she was the most beautiful angel on the earth. She lost her mother, however. When the mother was delivering her, she passed away. And earlier she had lost her father. So you see, the grandmother, she took a little shawl, a hereditary shawl, and she wrapped this little baby, and she held her in her arms and said, "I'm everything to you. Leela lile so, leela lilo, leela lile so, leela lilo, leela lilo, leela lilo." Now the grandmother, she lived in a beautiful bamboo house, which was more than 50, 60 years old, untouched by the storms. And she brought up this little girl, Coco, to be strong, to be confident, and to be happy. Very difficult to get such combinations, isn't it? And since there were acres and acres of land, she ran. She was a little girl who loved running. She stretched, she talks, she knew the language of the birds, the animals. She could even talk to the crocodile, and she could find the right fish. And her grandmother told her a lot of stories about why they don't cook two kinds of fish together, Well, we don't know that. And she also told her the story of why they had so many hornbills over there. She climbed that mountain and the hills, and she picked the fruit. She could climb the trees. She could just climb up just like a spider. And she had such wonderful fleeting feet. So she would go up especially on a full moon night. And she would watch the full moon right up from the top of the hill and the stars shining there. That was one moment when she felt very relaxed, when she would close her eyes and feel the winds touching her from all sides. She would come back and she would look from out of the window again till the moon set. And that night she would always sleep late. She grew up to be a beautiful woman, She was about 18, and in the tribal community they would get her married. So here the grandmother was wondering who would be the right suitor. And just as she was wondering, Coco ran up that hill, and that full moon night, she heard, Hayo Hasini Rutu Bina Ja Hayo Hasini Rutu Bina Ja. And she knew, she saw the silhouette of that man. He was Porok, and she fell in love with him. And she replied, O jaha koi lo tu bhi na ja, O jaha koi lo tu bhi na ja. They ran down that mountain and they looked at each other. They had fallen in love. And what next? The grandmother decided, since he was from the same tribe, that she would have the wedding. She called the chief of the village. They built a new bamboo house, and there both of them lived very happily. And she was young, and just when she was getting married, the grandmother gave her a little chest, and in that chest she gave her a beautiful shawl which she wrapped her when she was a baby. And she said, this is a hereditary shawl, and you know what you have to do? You should never ever allow your husband to either see it or touch it. Now be careful, okay? And so every season, Coco, she would remove from the chest and she would dust it and put it back. The seasons changed, and it was summer, and it was winter, and it was autumn, and all the seasons passed by. And one such season, when he was returning after fishing, he was coming with the fish, and he saw in the distance that there was something bluish and some shawl that she was putting into that box. Oh yeah, what is that? But he was a fine gentleman. He said, no, I don't think I should ask her. It must be something very important to her. So he let it go. And again, the season changed, and this was when there were clouds in the sky, and there was a lot of storm, and there was wind everywhere. And this was the time when she decided she is going to dust it. But at that time, Porok had gone fishing, and the boat started rocking, the waves, whoa! And he didn't want to take a risk, so he got off the boat, and he was about to return home when he saw that while she was dusting that shawl, she let it go because it was so windy. The shawl just went right up, and it went to the sea, and it was almost above Porok's head now. And Porok, he saw that shawl and he said, oh my God, this is something so important to her. And he jumped up and he caught that shawl. And as he caught that shawl, he saw that the shawl was slowly losing its colors, and it was getting into him. And now he was growing a head, and he was growing a beak, and he was growing feathers, and he was growing a body. And it was at that time that she saw him, and she saw that he was turning into a peacock because the bluish green had got into him. And she said, oh, you shouldn't have touched it. And she came running, and she held the brown part of the shawl, and the brown part got into her, and Coco became the peahen. And then the people, they all rushed to the seashore, and all that they heard was, ew, 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 ew. And so it was on that day, for the first time, that people decided that they will combine the peacock and the peahen, Coco and Porok, and they got a new language for themselves called Cock Porok. Now this is the official language actually in Tripura. And if you go to the wax museum in that place, you will not regret it at all, because there are 108 tribes, and you will find this man with a blue-green attire, and you will recognize that it is from the Garo tribes. But people haven't forgotten. Young lovers still get on to the hills. Hayo hasni rutubi na ja, o jahan koi lo tu bhi na ja. And that was a story for you of the Garo tribes from Tripura, the northeast of India. I want to thank all of you for listening to this story.